Shalom. This is Yair Davidiy, speaking to you from the land of Israel. I represent Brit-Am, Brit-Am Hebrew Awareness. Our movement, we research the whereabouts of the lost tribes of Israel. And we have found them amongst Western peoples. As you know, originally there were 12 tribes of Israel, actually 13 tribes, there are actually 13 tribes of Israel, because the tribe of Joseph was divided into two, Ephraim and Manasseh. 12 sons of Jacob, 12 sons of Israel, and become 12 tribes. But the tribe of Joseph was separated into two separate tribes, Ephraim and Manasseh, each 4 tribes in their own right, therefore you had 13 tribes. Now usually the Bible, always, not only usually, but always the Bible counts 12 tribes, by playing around with the how the tribes are counted. Sometimes the tribe of Levi is not counted because Levi did not inherit his inheritance, his own land, his own specific area, but was scattered throughout the other tribes. At other times, some other adjustment is made. Simeon is not counted, or the 2 tribes of Joseph, Ephraim and Manasseh, are counted as one tribe, the one tribe of Joseph, and the Bible tries to make it, makes it 12 tribes. Makes it number 12, but actually there were 13. And this is important for this talk of ours, because the 12 tribes of Israel, technically who were 13 tribes, that was important to the USA. Because as we understand it, the USA became dominated by Manasseh, and Manasseh in some respects would have been considered the 13th tribe. So therefore the number 13 and the principle of 13 tribes would have been important to Manasseh. Now, as we said, the 12 sons of Jacob, they became the heads of the tribes of Israel, the ancestors of the tribes of Israel, and these tribes of Israel were divided into 2 sections. One section became the kingdom of Judah in the south, kingdom of Judah, that comprised the tribes of Judah, of Benjamin, most of Levi, and represented minorities of the other tribes. But in principle, Judah and Benjamin were dominant in the kingdom of Judah in the south. In the north we had 10 tribes. And these 10 tribes were a separate kingdom, the kingdom of Israel, sometimes referred to as Samaria, sometimes referred to as Ephraim. And they were a separate kingdom, and they had separated from Judah. And they were conquered by the Assyrians. All of them were taken to exile. They were transported to areas to the north of the land of Israel. From there, they disappeared. They were taken away. They moved. They migrated to Western Europe, and the descendants that have been found amongst West European peoples and the British Isles, from which they gave rise to the USA, and to Australia, to New Zealand, to Canada, and to other places. And they altogether, 10 tribes will be found in the countries, present-day countries of Finland, Sweden, Norway, Denmark, the Netherlands, Belgium, France, Switzerland, Ireland, Northern Ireland, Scotland, Wales, England, and their offshoots. So that is what we have, and they are on the whole not aware of their ancestry. They're not aware of their ancestry, but they exist. They are real. This is a reality. This is a reality that can be proven, has been proven, and the Bible speaks about. And it is playing a major role in what is going on in the world today. And it concerns us because most of the people who are interested in this subject belong to this entity, the lost 10 tribes, or to Judah. It's the Jewish people. And the major Israelite nation in our time, as we understand it, is the USA, United States of America. That is the major Israelite nation in our time. And this major Israelite nation, was created. It came into existence through Britain, that represents Ephraim, and from out of Ephraim came the initial, that is, from out of Britain came the initial foundational colonists. Also from other portions of Europe, they gave rise to the USA. And from areas that were especially dominant, geographical regions, we find representatives of different tribes, and amongst those tribes we find clans from the tribe of Manasseh. Manasseh was important. Also, the very name America, it derives from a root, derives from a word, ha-Machiri, in Hebrew meaning the sons of Machir. Machir was the firstborn sons of Manasseh. And ha-Machiri is a Hebrew expression found in the Bible. It became a nickname for someone called Machir amongst the Jews, and an important Jew in the Middle Ages, or just before the Middle Ages, in effect, became a noble, an aristocrat in the French Kingdom of France, of the early Franks, and he was known as, to the Jews, as ha-Machiri, and to the Gentiles, who mostly wrote in Latin at that time, was nicknamed America. Ha-Machiri became America. America was a name passed on to Americo Vespucci in the 1400s, 1500s, and he gave his name to America. So America, in effect, is named after Americo Vespucci. Americo Vespucci after Machir, the noble. The Machir noble was named after ha-Machir, the sense of Machir in the Bible. So that is important for those who we attach importance to names. So that is an important point. And also America. America in everyday speech, America refers to the continent, North America, South America. But in everyday speech, when you say America, you're referring to the USA. America is a name specifically given to the USA. We say that America is dominated by the tribe of Manasseh. The word Manasseh in Hebrew can mean forgetting. It also has another meaning that Rabbi Shimshon Raphael discusses, and discussing the name Manasseh, it also means responsible representation. That is the form of government that the Americans, the people of the USA, have chosen for themselves, and that which they consider very fundamental to their society, to the philosophy of their political institutions, to what they are. So America, and we identify America with Manasseh for that reason, not only for that reason, but also because the firstborn son of Manasseh was Machir, and his descendants were known as Machiri, and he gave his name to America, ha-Machiri. And also because areas in which we find descendants of Machir, they were important in the foundation of the USA, as we said. And for other reasons, according to our understanding of what is going on now, of philosophy, the USA is a major Israelite nation. Amongst the several Israelite nations that exist that we enumerated, the USA is the foremost nation, and the most important nation, and within the USA that we found representatives of all of the tribes of Israel in our time. Though Manasseh is dominant, the tribe of Manasseh is dominant, Joseph and Ephraim, Ephraim is also important. Manasseh and Ephraim were two sons of Joseph. Ephraim became important amongst the British and offshoots of the British and the Manasseh of America. But also in America you have many from Ephraim. It may be that they may be very numerous numerically, but the characteristics of the USA are more those of Manasseh. Manasseh gives them, the USA is a place where the Manasseh is the area to which Manasseh gave expression to his tribal characteristics. And the USA was founded. Originally, you had 13 colonies. The 13 colonies, the USA was founded, had 13 colonies, and from those colonies, and they were, there was 13 colonies. These colonies rebelled and declared their independence from Britain, and they set up their own country, their own entity. And onto these original 13 colonies, other states were added. So that today we have 50 of them. But nevertheless, in some way or other, all of the others that were added on later have an attachment to the 13 original ones, at least as we understand it. And at all events, even if you disagree with us on this point, it helps us understand what is going on. It is a way to get a handle on this reality, to take it this way. So we have 13 tribes, 13 original colonies, and each colony somehow or other may be associated with one of the 13 tribes. And the tribes, as we understand them, in the north, you had the northern section of the tribes, so the tribes were encamped around the tabernacle, and the tabernacle in the middle, and around the tabernacle you had the tribe of Levi, the different groups of the tribe of Levi, Merari, Kohat, and so on, and around them were the tribes. The tribes were arranged. And in the north you had the section of Dan. Dan was at the head, and Dan comprised of 3 tribes of Asher, Dan, and Naphtali. And Asher, the tribe of Asher, we identify with New Hampshire, Dan with Delaware, Naphtali with Connecticut, Naphtali with the state of Connecticut. In the west, we had around the tabernacle in the west, there was Benjamin, Ephraim, and Manasseh. The one in the middle is the head tribe of the 3. So Benjamin, Ephraim, and Manasseh, with Ephraim being the head tribe. So Benjamin, we identify with New Jersey. Benjamin and Hebrew Benjamin, New Jersey. Ephraim with Virginia, the state of Virginia. Manasseh with Massachusetts. On the east side, we had Issachar, Judah, and Zebulun, with Judah, that is the middle tribe, being the head tribe. Issachar we identify with North Carolina, Judah with New York, Zebulun with Georgia. In the south, we had the 3 tribes of Gad, Reuben, and Simeon. Gad, Reuben, and Simeon. Gad we identify with Pennsylvania, Reuben with Rhode Island, and Simeon with South Carolina. So they are the original 13 tribes. And onto those tribes were added another 37 tribes, making 50. 37 states. 37 states making 50, 37 states making 50 states, and each state, in some way or other, is dominated by a particular tribe. To begin with, we'll go quickly through the original 13 tribes, and then we'll go through the others. Asher, we identify with New Hampshire. Dan with Delaware. Naphtali with Connecticut. Benjamin with New Jersey. Ephraim with Virginia. Manasseh with Massachusetts. Issachar, North Carolina. Judah with New York. Zebulun with Georgia. Gad with Pennsylvania. Reuben with Rhode Island. Simeon with South Carolina. Maryland with Levi. Now, going through the states, each and every one of the states, these are the identifications that we have. These identifications are tentative. We believe that most of them are reliable, that they will justify themselves as we continue to research these matters. Here and there, we may have to make adaptations, changes, and we have already done so in 1 or 2 cases. So that, remember that, we do research, and the aspects of research, some of them, you could say, general rules that are ironclad, that we will not change, that the whole structure of what we believe in stands upon, and that we are certain that we are correct in this because it is based on very firm foundations. Other points are a borderline speculation, but in most cases will prove themselves. So if here and there we make a mistake, here and there we change our opinion on certain matters, do not let that reflect upon the major points that we do hold to. So we have, in addition to the 13 states, in addition to the 13 original states, 37 other states were added onto the USA. And also, each one of these states in its turn was identifiable with one or other of the 13 tribes. So we have Alabama, Ephraim, Alaska, Judah, Arizona, Gad, Arkansas, Asher. We have California, Asher, Colorado, Manasseh, Florida, Asher, Hawaii, Ephraim, Idaho, Manasseh, Illinois, Manasseh, Rhodes, Illinois, Manasseh, Indiana, Ephraim, Iowa, Manasseh, Kansas, Manasseh, Kentucky, Manasseh, Louisiana, Zebulun, Maine, Asher, Michigan, Manasseh, Minnesota, Zebulun, Mississippi, Simeon, Missouri, Reuben, Montana, Naphtali, Nebraska, Manasseh, Nevada, Manasseh, New Mexico, Simeon, Idaho, Reuben, Oregon, Manasseh, South Dakota, Manasseh, Tennessee, Naphtali, Texas, Gad, Utah, Judah, Vermont, Dan, Washington, Manasseh, West Virginia, Benjamin, Wisconsin, Dan, Wyoming, Manasseh. So they are the tribes. They are the tribes, and this list will also be found on our internet, on the relevant article concerning this, and also we will repeat it. And at all events, it's worth a look at, it's worth the thinking of, taking into cognizance. It's valuable, and God willing, future research will exemplify these points that we are making and clarify them more. The Lord God of Israel bless you. Thank you.